Hi friends! Today we will be talking about Coroutine scope, but I'm not alone today. Joining us Headless Xenia. Headless Xenia, hello!
Hi, I'm the most headless Xenia to have ever existed.
That's impressive, but let's go back to Coroutine scope, okay?
Aren't you at least a little curious about where my head is?
And where is it?
Long ago, I was...
Coroutine scope, friends, let's discuss it. What is Coroutine scope and why do we need it? Coroutine scope is the area or container within which coroutines are executed. Every coroutine launched in the scope inherits its life cycle. When scope is destroyed, all coroutines launched within it are also automatically cancelled. This prevents memory leaks and unnecessary execution for background tasks.
Why do we need the scope? Can't I just launch Coroutine without it? People need heads, but I don't have one. Doesn't it seem strange?
No, every coroutine runs within some scope. A coroutine scope in Kotlin is essential for managing coroutines, so you don't lose track of them and can cancel them when they're not longer needed. It's like a group of tasks that's tied to something, like a screen, an app, or another process. When that something disappears, the scope automatically canceled all associated tasks.
Not sure if you noticed, but I don't have a head, so I don't understand a word that you're saying.
Your comments about your missing head are starting to get a little bit annoying. But I just had some mint tea, so I can calmly continue. Let me try an example. Imagine you're going on a picnic and you bring a basket. The basket is your Coroutine scope, and everything you put into this basket, sandwiches, water, play ball, are your coroutines. If picnic is cancelled, for example, it starts raining, you just get rid of the basket and everything inside it is cancelled, so you don't have to deal with each item individually.
So I launch coroutines in this container to make them easier to manage. And without this container, I can't launch a coroutine, right? That would be like a body without head.
Correct. The scope is incredibly important. When you cancel the scope, all coroutines within it are automatically cancelled. Let's look at the different scopes that are available in Android development. First is global scope. A global scope exists throughout the entire life of the application. Coroutines launched in this scope are not tied to any specific life cycle, such as activity or fragment. But it's not recommended to use global scope. But please use global scope with caution, as it's not recommended way. Next one is view model scope. It's the scope that's tied to the life cycle of your model in Android. All coroutines launched in this scope will be automatically cancelled when the view model is destroyed. Next one is lifecycle scope. This scope is tied to the lifecycle of Android component, such as activities or fragments. Coroutines are automatically cancelled when the component is destroyed.
But what if none of the scope you mentioned suits me? Not every head suits me either, though I think that horse head would be just perfect.
Then you can create your own scope, and it's really easy. To create your own scope, you need to use Coroutine scope class and pass Coroutine context, which determines how task will be executed, on which thread with what settings.
Stop, stop, stop! My poor missing head is completely overloaded. What is a Coroutine context? Why do we need it? Why do we need heads?
A Coroutine context is a set of rules that tells the coroutine where and how it should be executed. It's like an instructional manual for the coroutine.
How do you create it?
To create a Coroutine context, you should combine three elements. First is dispatcher. This determines where the coroutine will run. On the main thread, dispatcher's main, in the background, dispatcher's IO, or for heavy tasks, dispatcher's default. Second is a job. This is the task that tracks the coroutine. It helps manage its life cycle, such as canceling it when it's needed. And third one is additional information. For example, coroutine name. This can add useful details for debugging, for example. You combine these elements using plus, and this creates a context that you can use to manage coroutines. I know this sounds confusing.
Yes, my poor head.
You don't have a head! We get it, you're headless. Now let's focus on Coroutine scope.
What's that?
I've been explaining this for ages. Minty didn't prepare me for this. One more time. A coroutine scope is a container for coroutines. It makes it easy to manage multiple coroutines in the same time. To create coroutine scope, we need a coroutine context.
What's a coroutine context?
Oh, I think I'm starting to understand how you lose your head. A coroutine context is an instruction set for coroutines. It specifies on which thread coroutine will run on and includes a job manager of the coroutine that tracks its life cycle, whether it's running, finished, or cancelled. In a coroutine scope, we pass coroutine context so we know how the coroutines inside scope will be executed. So one more time. A coroutine scope uses a coroutine context to group tasks, coroutines together and manage them.
So the scope is like my head. The coroutine context decides which part of my brain will handle these coroutines, these thoughts, and also how manage them. So if you, remove the head, there won't be any thoughts, right?
Great analogy. Exactly. We will talk about this in the future videos. So don't worry, dear viewers, if you didn't fully understand everything.
I didn't understand anything. Shouldn't I worry as well?
No, you're just an idiot. Goodbye, friends, and see you in the next videos.